Meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, Teil 2, ChefAlps. Wir waren vorher ganz in der Nähe, in Basel. Wir gehen jetzt in den Norden. Und wenn es einen Stern gibt im Norden, dann nennt man den in der Küche nicht Polarstern, der hat einen anderen Namen. Das ist ein weiterer positiv Verrückter der Küche. Ein Mann, der in der Armee angefangen hat, quasi mit Kochen, der dann in London, in Bath, in Paris und dann zurück in Stockholm seinen eigenen Weg gefunden hat, mit einem Partner ein Restaurant aufgemacht hat, das innerhalb kürzester Zeit in die Top 20 der besten Restaurants der Welt gekommen ist und der jetzt ohne seinen Partner, der ihn anfangs ja auf eigenen Plänen verlassen hat, jetzt einen neuen Weg startet wieder und den Weg, den er angefangen hat, konsequent weitergeht. Meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, so ein Mann, der Küchentraditionen aus dem Norden und neue Küchentraditionen, die entstanden sind in den letzten Jahren aus den skandinavischen Ländern, paart mit japanischen Einflüssen, der ist sehr spannend. Aber schauen wir zuerst mit einem kurzen Film in seine Küche, in seine Arbeit, in seine Mannschaft, damit wir ihn ein bisschen besser verstehen lernen. Bitte sehr. Meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, begrüßen Sie den Star aus Schweden, Björn Frantzén. Bitte sehr. Come just in front, please. So, Björn Frantzén, er spricht in etwa so gut Deutsch wie ich Schwedisch und ich spreche kein Schwedisch, also wechseln wir auf Englisch. English, I think you've been working in London, you've been working in Bath, so no problem with this language. What's about the kitchen in England? Problematic or
no,
inspiration?
No, inspiration. You know,
inspiration.
And it was good. It's always good to see other chefs' cuisine and how they work and what they do. There's always something to pick up and something to learn, whatever it is. So no, it's good, very good.
Now back in Stockholm, and did not last very long to get the first star, then the second star. What do stars mean to you? Is this inspiration or is this? Okay, it comes when it comes.
It comes when it comes. Hard work.
Okay.
And you know, you get what you get, and it's not something that you could, you know, concentrate on.
Yes.
You know, you do what you do.
And you're only two-star restaurants in all over Sweden, so you must be proud on this.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
19 seats in your restaurant.
Yes.
Huh? Am I right? The
You're
restaurant
right.
Frantzén in the old town of Stockholm.
Yes.
But 12 cooks. So your financial chief must be kind of a artist.
Yeah, well, you know, I get that question quite often.
I can imagine.
And my reply to that is it's good for gastronomy, but not economy.
But for economy, I mean, you've been working in England and you've seen the pubs in England. So you opened just now, a few weeks, months ago, a new pub just opposite your restaurant, huh? Near
Yes,
your
we
restaurant. So this is, what about this? Is this a new RD or what is this all about, this restaurant, a pub? In
it's a pub. Oh. It's a pub. And it's nice sometimes to cook dishes that doesn't take a year to develop, you know?
And did not cost 2 months' salary.
Exactly.
Okay, wonderful.
Exactly.
Meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, also nicht nur, dass er 19 Plätze in seinem Restaurant hat und die mit 12 Köchen bekocht und sein Finanzchef ab und zu schlaflose Nächte hat, nein, er hat auch noch die Idee eines Pubs in seiner Heimatstadt, respektive in Stockholm, verwirklicht, weil er sagt, es müsste auch mal was gegessen und gekocht werden, das nicht ein Jahr dauert, um entwickelt zu werden. Und ich habe dann noch freundlicherweise hinterhergeschoben, dass auch nicht 3 Monatssaläre kostet, um es dann schlussendlich zu bezahlen. We're looking forward to you show what you're showing us, to your kitchen that is heavily influenced from Japan. Why this?
There's a lot of things that are in common with Nordic cuisine, with Japanese cuisine, and I think there's a lot to learn from chefs all over the world, from some of the philosophies and the respect for ingredients that some of the Japanese chefs have, especially if you're looking into the kaiseki kitchen.
Okay.
And
so
well,
kind of Nordic kaiseki.
Sort of, if you want to put sort of words on it, but you know, we're using mainly our own ingredients, but the philosophy might be a little bit with what the Japanese do, and also it's as I said, there's a lot of things in common with the fermentation and and acidity and storing ingredients like we have with the Japanese. So the line in between is very close.
So you're not 12 of you, but you 2 of you.
Yep.
So present your partner, your assistant, please.
Yeah, this is Fredrik, my sous chef. He's been with me.
And now I think the public, we all are looking forward to have a look at your art and what are you doing and what is your philosophy in kitchen and what about this chief's work about.
Yeah.
Björn Frantzén, bitte sehr.
All right. So, the first dish we're going to do, it's something we've done for quite some time. And this is the only dish that I haven't tried my own on the menu. And it's because I can't eat oysters. And it's not because I'm allergic, but there's an oyster festival in Stockholm every year where you're eating oysters and drinking Guinness. And I think I have a bit too much of both of them at the same time. So I can't have them anymore. So what I've done also to the oyster now is I've done everything I can to really hide the flavor of the oyster. So we have an oyster, Swedish oysters from the west coast. We poach them. We put them in a sous vide bag, and then we poach them for 45 minutes on 62 degrees. And someone can start thinking, why the hell is someone cooking an oyster like that? But the thing is that there's a bacteria in the oyster which some people can't eat. They can't have it. They go sick. And it's not because the oyster is bad. It's just a bacteria. And we had about 4 incidents in about 4 months where people have to leave the dinner so early. And this serving is very early on in the menu. And it's quite boring to finish a tasting menu after 15 minutes. So by cooking it this way, it has the same consistency and everything is like a raw, but you have cooked away that bacteria that some people just can't have. So that's why we do it. So we cook it sous vide, and then we cool it down, we open it up, and we take it out, wash it in its own liquid, put it back into the shell, and this is what we get. We serve it cold. And then we keep on adding things to it, because that's the way I can have my oysters nowadays. The first thing we add, it's a little bit of a Jersey cream, which we flavor with juniper berries. And the fattiness in the cream really takes out and helps the oyster on its way. And normally you have lemon or vinegar or something like that to go with an oyster. So we needed to find the acidity from somewhere else. So what we've done is that we have made a basically frozen, we take sea buckthorns and we juice them and then we freeze them down with just a touch of sugar. And then, so we get the acidity from frozen sea buckthorn juice, which we add on top. And also to bring on some more sort of ocean sea flavor, we have dried some seaweed, which we add on top. And this brings it back into the sea again. And the whole point with this dish is that in one bite you get a whole dish. And we're also using, to get some nuttiness into it and earthiness to it, we have a touch of walnut oil, which we add into it. And then we finish it off with just a few peeled, sliced walnuts. And you take this in one bite. Voila, that's it. First dish. And obviously this changed over the year, this dish. You saw in the movie it was frozen elderflowers, and you can use apples, rhubarb, you know, basically everything, anything that has acidity that comes around, that's what we use. And one of the things we also work pretty hard with, and we're only serving one, is that me? We're only serving one tasting menu. Sorry. Oh, here comes the army. Yeah. Hello, hello, hello.
We need.
Hello? Yeah, okay, now. Okay, you hold it.
Wonderful.
Okay, now we. Okay, where was I? Yeah, one of the things that we're only serving one menu, and it's one tasting menu. And one of the servings that I find pretty difficult to handle is also the dessert. And we don't want it to be too sweet. And we're trying to work, we try to see the menu, instead of reading the menu from up and down, we try to see it as a circle. So we're coming back to where we've been before. And this is one way of doing it. And this time we're going to play with basically the same sort of ingredients and same theme as we did in the oyster dish. So what we have, in the bottom we have a little bit of meringue, which is flavored with green tea, with a matcha tea. We have a mousse, which is just a whipped mousse, which is flavored with basically the same ingredients, and a touch of walnut that goes on top. Top of that, we put sea buckthorn sorbet. And then we have a little bit of the seaweed again, but this one it's crystallized, so we get the sweetness out of it. And then we just finally finish it off with a little bit of green tea. And basically that's the same ingredients as in the oyster, but serve it as a dessert instead. Second. And as you saw also in the movie, one of the servings that I find also very difficult in a tasting menu, it's different when you have an a la carte, but if you're serving only one tasting menu, for me there's a lot of things to consider when you're creating the menu together. And we used to be really famous for our bread serving. It was basically, we had the dough, and it was rising on the table in a wooden box with a glass lid. And we leave it there over the first sort of half an hour of the dinner. And then when the bread was proved and ready, the bread, we took it in and we cooked it off a la minute over an open fire in a Josper oven. And while we were doing that, we were also churning the butter a la minute in front of the guests. But we just stopped with it. And the reason is because I don't think bread belongs in a tasting menu. And it's also difficult for me to control how much people eat. One person might eat one slice, and one person might eat one loaf. And then when we get towards the end of the menu, they say, oh, I'm too filled up, I can't have anymore. And that's not happening anymore, because we take away the bread. And when we first took it away, I said, oh shit, this is gonna go really bananas now, the guests. And because we're in Sweden, we need to have our bread. We eat bread all the day. And no one realized, no one even discovered that the bread wasn't on the menu. It wasn't until after, when I was talking to the guests, that said, oh, have you missed the bread? That's when they, shit, yeah, we didn't have any bread. So yeah, so I took it away. But so we've been playing around for quite some time, and you saw that in the movie as well. What we're serving now is a bread soup instead, which is made out of fermented dry with a little bit of cork in the bottom, and then a smoked lard oil, and it gets really umami rich. So that's also one of the servings that we are basically recently changing and moving along with, and you saw it in the movie. That is one of our signature dishes, the soup, and this is the other one that's been on the menu for quite some time, and the only reason is I just can't come up with a better way to cook a scallop. My ideas is finished, and so what we do is we get the scallops from northern Norway, outside an island called Hitra, where they hand dive them, and we get them in like this, whole, like they are. And normally what we do is that we cook them over an open fire, but I did this chef Sache in last year, and I wanted to build up a fire on stage, and I did. So this year I'm not allowed, so we're cooking it in a different way. It's a bit like in television now, I have prepared a little bit. So we cooked it in the oven basically, but what we do is that we put it in the fire or in the heat, whole as it is, and then we open it up, and when we hear so the first bubble, open it up, and we take out the scallop and we slice that one, clean it, put it back into the shell, and the rest of the trimmings, which we got here, we squeeze them a little bit, and so we get like a natural juice out of it. So we get a natural bouillon going for it. So that's what we've done, and it goes on top here. And as you can see now, the scallop is just slightly cooked, still has a raw center. And then we add a little bit of the natural juice from the scallop. And then what we serve with it after that, it's very different. And today we have done an emulsion of algae and seaweed and herbs that goes on top. And then we finish it off with a little bit of summer truffle. Normally I'm not a fan of summer truffle because it doesn't taste anything, basically. That's the reason. But with this dish, when the starter dish is the scallop, I don't mind. So we just grate some of the scallop, the truffle on top of the scallop, and then we serve it like that. And that's the first serving of the scallop. And also what we do with the scallop, there's more servings. We have a tartar of the scallop, and what's really important when you're making a tartar, for us, when you're making a tartar of scallop, is because all fish and also seafood has a substance in them, and it's called ATP. And the ATP gives a unique sweetness to fish and shellfish. The only problem with the ATP is that it goes away very quickly. After something has been slaughtered, it goes away. On fish, you have a little bit more time, 3 to 4 hours. But on seafood, it goes away within an hour. So we have the scallops alive in our aquarium. So when it's time for the tartar, we open it up, slice it. And so obviously we don't have our aquarium with us today, so this one is prepared a little bit before. In here, it's the tartar, and then we take the roe from the scallop, which we cook sous vide for a while, and then we mix it with a little bit of cold-pressed rapeseed oil and a touch of soya, and it becomes like an eggless mayonnaise, like an emulsion. So we bound it up with that, and then we finish with a little bit of truffle. And to get some freshness into it. We have a touch of lime. We bound up, and by this time, the guests have finished the first scallop, the first serving, hopefully. So what we're doing in the kitchen while they're eating the first serving. So now you have to imagine this is the guest, and he eat it. He didn't do this with it. So that's what the guests are sitting with, and they're thinking, okay, it's all over. And then the servers come, and I put a tartar, and then the servers pours in a Nordic dashi. You know, the normal dashi is made out of bonito and shiitake and so on. Our dashi is made out of scallops that we slice and we dry them, and we use yellow chanterelles and Swedish seaweed, so it becomes like a Swedish dashi. And it's served in the shell, so you drink it with all the sort of national juice that's left from the scallop, and it becomes like a scallop dashi that you drink, and at the same time you're eating a tartar of the scallop. That's the third dish. And this was the dish you saw in the movie, but then it was made with a sabayon of goose eggs and so on. So you can change whatever to go with it. All right, we're moving on. And one ingredient that I'm very fond of, which I really like, it's reindeer. And this is the reindeer from north of Sweden, and it's the Sami people who has the license to have them. So they're all wild, but they live very close to the Sami people because they feed them. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a tartar out of it. But before we do that, I want to give it some more barbecue smoky flavor. So I have a piece of, pretty big piece of coal. It's from Japan, it's called Binshotan, and it can take really higher heat than a normal coal. So with the help of the gas burner, we heat it up a little bit. And then, because with all game meat, it's the same as with horse, it's a great piece of meat to use for tartar because it's very low on fat. But you have to be very careful when you're cooking it because it goes very quickly dry. So we're basically taking the heat through the coal and we're going around the reindeer. And so we sort of perfume it a little bit. In an ideal dream world, you would able to bring your gas burners on an airplane, but you're not allowed. So I'm using a very tired gas burner, as you can see. It's not very quickly. But you get the principle of what we're doing. This can also be achieved by, for example, when you blacken it in a pan with a bit of spices, if that's what you want. But I think it just gives it makes the reindeer a little bit more sexy when you're having it a little bit more flavor to it. And also what we're doing to get more sort of smoky flavor into it, we have taken, we burn hay and we make like an ash out of hay, and that has a really nice smokiness to it as well. And then we add that to it. We give it to Frederick, and he will start preparing the tartar. And while we do that, I'm also gonna talk about the other serving that I found to be one of the most difficult serving and tasting menu. And we have tried so many different things over the 5 years we've been around now. And it's what's to go with the coffee. And we tried everything. When we first opened up, we did the classic. We wanted to show how good we are, so we sent out like 47 different kinds. And then we tried to do just macaroons, and we did Swedish mini rulled tårtor, which is a classic. And we use carbonated ice, we use fog, we have used everything. But then I've been sort of thinking about it, and ideally, I don't think you need any petit fours after a tasting menu because you're so filled up. And it's pretty bizarre also because when you're creating a menu, you're thinking about all the details all the way through the menu. And then it just stops when it comes to petit fours. Then it's whatever you want to do, you do it. And it doesn't sort of belongs to the whole menu. So we have reconsidered that lately. And if I'm going to myself, the only thing I want when I'm having a coffee or an avec, the only thing that can match up to the coffee and to the avec, that is a chocolate truffle. So all we're doing nowadays, we're doing one chocolate truffle with pretty bitter chocolate, and a chocolate that has high acidity because the coffee we're using at the moment has a quite high acidity. And if you're choosing tea, you get like a sponge cake, which is lightly flavored with a little bit of tea, depending on what tea you're taking. And that's all we're serving. So less is more. That's our philosophy. Now it's time for the tartar. What Fredrik's done is it's just chop it down. And then we're using a part of the leg for tartar. And they're pretty tough. But they have much more flavor, so that's why we use it. So what's really important when you're doing it is that we go over it with a knife quite a lot, so we're really tenderizing it. And then what we have added to it is that a little bit of melted fat from the reindeer and a touch of salt. And that's all we're using. On top of that, we will have a little bit of vendelsrö, which is a small fish that we get in the north of Sweden. For me, it's an outstanding product. I think it's better than the much more expensive caviar. So it has a bit of saltiness that goes together with the dish. And to even get more sort of smokiness going here and get some more excitement to the dish, we have sour cream, homemade sour cream, which we flavor with smoked eel. And to flavor it up a little bit, we have a little bit of salt that's mixed with the dried mushrooms. A little bit of chives to get some onion going, and also classic onion rings. I'm also a big fan of using the whole animal. We can't use only the fillet of an animal. And today I took it a little bit to the extreme. This is dry reindeer penis. And the Sami people up in the north, they dry it, but not so much as I have dried. This is pretty hard because it's dried. But the Sami people, they don't dry it this much. They do it so it's like a jerky meat, so they can eat it. And this is more of showing an example to guests that they can't only eat the nice fillets. You have to use the whole animal. So this is part of the leg, which not many people like to eat. And then also, obviously, it's another part which not many people eat. That's it. That's the dried reindeer penis with its own tartar. Okay, we're going to finish off with dessert, and once again we're using the same method as we did with oyster and the matcha tea. We're using reindeer for dessert, and we're going to use the blood from the reindeer. And it might sound a bit bizarre, I know, but considering it's we're also using chocolate. We're not using very much chocolate in the restaurant, but sometimes I do. We're using a cocoa, a bitter chocolate, and if you think about it, it's a pretty classic combination to do game meat with for example chocolate sauce. So it's not so strange as you might think. So the first thing we have here is we've done small pancakes of blood pancakes, and they are flavored with the blood, obviously from the reindeer. And also we're having a little bit of moss, and the moss is deep fried, and then it's flavored with a mushroom sugar. So we get some consistencies and crunchiness to it. And we have also made small crisps of the blood, which we will add for more consistency and also a nicer way of using the whole animal. And also we're looking around in the surroundings, what are the reindeers eating? We want to get some fruitiness into it, which also is very classic when you're doing the old game and chocolate sauce. Obviously blueberries, it's a favorite thing for the reindeer. So we add a few blueberries to the dish as well. And what else is out there? It's wild thyme, which also is very good to go with it, and it really matches well with the blueberries. They grow next to each other. And then we add a little bit of the chocolate. Just raw grated. And what else is around out there? We use the dried mushrooms again, which also grows next to it, but this one is mixed with sugar instead of salt for the previous course. And the funny thing that goes on the plate, it's a little bit of oil, and it's from the leaves from birch tree, which we have a lot of in Sweden. And on this one, no penis. We leave it like this. That's it. Thank you.
Meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, Björn, bitte. You come with me?
I will.
Just in front here. Man ist es ja in Schweden gewohnt, manchmal eigenartige Dinge zu essen. Dass es in der Spitzenküche auch stattfindet, ist für mich jetzt etwas neu, weil ein Rentierblut-Pancake als Abschluss eines Essens tönt gewöhnungsbedürftig. So I think a Rentierblut pancake sounds strange to us. And how do react people in Sweden, in Stockholm?
Well, this dish is served as a surprise dish, and I don't tell it what it is until they...
Okay. That's what I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
So you're working always... Yes, sure. Björn Frantzén.
No, but it's interesting because people, I'm the same as well. I mean, all human beings are. You get pre-assumption theories about something when you know what it is. And if you don't tell them what it is, and you tell them this is a little bit of extra dish, they go, oh, extra dish on the menu. Oh, they get happy, and then they eat it, and then you tell them what's after. They're like, oh, okay.
Oh yes, my stomach's hurting.
No, but it's not. No one gets upset, but they get. You know, it's interesting to see how you can play with the brain and with how people really think about food before they even try it.
Yes. So I think that's the big problem. People have kind of an idea of what they have to eat, and so they're not ready to eat what you're preparing. So, because you're working with carte blanche, so nobody knows what they're eating when they're coming to you.
No.
And that's quite a good thing for you. But with the people who are coming to you, what were the first things they told you? I mean, you started from the beginning with the carte blanche. And so what were the reaction of the people?
I mean, now everyone knows we do it. I mean, the beginning is difficult. We had, I mean, there's some people who doesn't really get what you're doing in that way. And, you know, as it was 5-6 years ago when we opened up, everyone, you know, they were looking at the websites, and if they saw the lobster, they came and they wanted to have the lobster dish, and they get so disappointed if it's not on the menu. But, you know, nowadays restaurants, they're changing, and more restaurants is only doing tasting menus. There's no a la carte anymore. So the whole gastronomy is changing in that way.
When I could offer you the 3rd star of Guide Michelin, and I would tell you that you can keep it only for 1 year, the 3rd star. And on the other side, I offer you further 20 years of hard work in the kitchen. Which one would you choose?
You know, I cook for myself and my guests, and what happens with the Guide Michelin. And, you know, if it happens, I'm happy, but I would not take it for 1 year. I mean. So
your choice is 20 more years of hard work in the kitchen.
I would love to.
Björn Frantzén. Wait. Here as well, a little present from the organization. It's a Kai knife, very sharp. Take care of it.
I will.
Don't give it to the little kiddies.
I won't.
And I'm looking forward, next time I'm going to Sweden, to Stockholm, I'm going to be one of those 19 seats sitting in your place, in your wonderful restaurant, and trying some Rentierblut pancake.
I hope so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Björn Frantzén.